What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Tesla has a big move coming. And so, in our normal Sunday Stock Talk, we are actually going to break Tesla down first. And then I'm going to jump into the markets and go over the dollar, the Russell, the NASDAQ, the S&P. But I've seen a ton of videos trying to just see what everyone else was thinking about Tesla because it was actually very awkwardly going sideways. It's done nothing. And I've seen a lot of buy the dip crowd out there. And yeah, I gotta say, it was almost so obvious that it's headed further down that I thought, Is it too obvious?" And the move is coming up. I even pulled up the volume, which is something I don't even usually do. I don't usually use indicators, but I even wanted to double check to see, are we seeing some kind of reversal? We got the sell off, huge volume on the sell off, and then just kind of average volume right here, which tells me retail, somebody's buying the dip, but not enough. There's zero follow through. Um, if we were seeing a whole bunch of high volume, then I think I was gonna make a buy the dip video for Tesla. And I to the Tesla bears that are in the comments, I'm probably gonna make you guys mad and the Tesla bulls because the Tesla bulls, I've noticed in the comments sometimes get very sensitive. And I don't want to hurt anybody's little feelers or anything like that. Uh, but it does look like Tesla's going to go on even further. I don't think Elon is a scam artist, or we've seen some of those crazy comments. But the more immediate price action right now, I think that move is coming down. I think we're coming down. Typically, earnings is nothing. It's a nothing burger for Tesla. If you've ever played Tesla during earnings and figured this out, I don't know why a lot of people are talking about earnings. The We have all the numbers when deliveries come out, and we can pretty much we have a pretty good idea of kind of what margins are, what to expect. So outside of just any outlier, Elon comes on and says something crazy or really surprises anybody, uh, then earnings are kind of a dud. We don't really expect much. The move happens during delivery numbers. But I gotta say, this just might be the catalyst it needs to go even further. Right now, it just looks like a bear flag, and everybody. I'm trying to figure out what they're drawing. I don't know what time frame they're on. They're drawing this ascending triangle. It's ascending triangle. Yeah. Okay. So we have I guess we'll draw that. And I don't know where they're putting it, to be honest. And I just kind of see it. I don't listen to the radio, so I let YouTube do its thing, and it recommends things, and I like to listen to other people's opinion. Maybe it's that. I don't know why we're chopping candles off. Maybe it's up here. Maybe they're on a much smaller time frame. So maybe it's that. I got to say right now, I think that's wishful thinking. We can keep an eye on this, but without a bunch of buy volume coming in, just showing me someone's trying to, like, someone knows something. I got to say, it looks like that move down is coming to the downside. It does have earnings this week. Again, nothing. I think it's just going to be an excuse to move it. The expected move is. First of all, if you have my charts, whether you're on Patreon, no matter what, however you have my chart link, all the expected moves are up to date. So just update that, and you're good to go. So it was I have the hang on a second, weekly expected move. Tesla $16.63 puts you right here at that 204 region. The reason this zone was white, because I thought if we got above it, I made it white back here, talking about if we got above it, this is the time we're gonna start talking about all-time highs. Like, we're gonna, once we get above that kind of battleground and we are officially above 200 again, I kind of thought we were going to keep it that way. But I gotta say, right now, it looks like you're about to get shares cheaper, which also shows up in the comments. You guys should just sell all your shares so I can buy it cheaper. Now, to the people that say that, I don't know if you know how markets work or volume just in general. Maybe you're looking at my sub count and you think it says 20 million. It's actually sub 20,000. Okay, we're not moving Tesla. Calm down. Okay, go cry to your mom somewhere else. You can't speak it into existence. If you are emotional, you're probably over allocated and you need to dial that back. Or you just might not be here next year. Granted, it's Tesla, so I hope you are. But as of right now, I I really wanted to come on here and say the risk is to the upside for the Bears. It's like, man, maybe it's so because you ever just know that when the move is so obvious, just know that the banks see that and they know what you're thinking. Uh, I really wanted to come in here and see a whole bunch of volume. Like someone's really like someone knows something. I don't know if I have an excuse to really push this thing up. So right now, let's just keep it at this: bear flag or reversal. More of a drop base, about as picture perfect as you can get. And we're talking supply and demand. There's a drop base drop or a drop base rally. There's your heads and tails. You can flip that coin. I do think earnings will be the catalyst this week. Uh, Either way, let's just chart out this range we've been in. Let's just grab highs and lows. Let's grab that wick right there. I'm going to go ahead and delete this off, as a matter of fact. And then let's grab the absolute lows right here. Breaking and closing above or below will likely send us probably to the expected move. We'll have to watch out for these just kind of zones right here where I do expect some, if we're in this yellow zone, I expect some sellers to show up. Gray zone, still expect some buyers to show up. But before we do get carried away, what I would be on the lookout for is we break this range, because you don't need a master of technical analysis or anyone like that to tell you there's a lot of liquidity hanging out just outside this range. People are waiting. Stops are right outside this range. So if you're short, your stop's somewhere around here. If you're long, your stop's somewhere around here. It would be very simple for someone that does have the money that can move markets to send it one way, get everybody excited, and rip it the other way. Which I would say would pan out probably a lot easier for the Bears. Because if you're bearish Tesla and Elon's a scam and he's going to go bankrupt, whatever the excuse is, the second you see it break to the downside, you're going to be on Twitter, Facebook, telling everybody I told you so. By the time you get back, it could be green. So I just would not get ahead of yourself on that one. Let that candle close outside there. Again, guys, if I had to put my money on it right now, I would say we're coming down. So that's it. I've seen a ton of videos, and I really tried to. I looked at this under a magnifying glass, microscope. Anyway, I really looked at Tesla. I tried to find all the excuses I could, but right now I think the buy the dip crowd might just be a little bit wishful. I guess let's cover it. If the market's going to continue this grind up, because we're about to get into the markets. Again, I'm going to go over the dollar, then the S&P, the NASDAQ, and then the Russell. If they continue this grind up, which I do think they will, maybe some of that buy side activity can share some love with Tesla, and maybe it does just send it up. But I think it might be worth waiting for the break on this one and then taking that play. It is it's called a fake out for a reason. Okay, you're not going to know it's going to be a fake out. So if it breaks up, make the play or not. But if you could really call out, hey, a fake out's coming every time, we could just really wait and put all our money on there and all the margin. It's got its name for a reason. But remember how Tesla ran up? We're going to pause this here. Not really pause. Tesla ran up into this robo-taxi event. I want you guys to remember how that felt. Just this area right inside here. For now, I'm going to jump into the normal Sunday Stock Talk stream. Do me a huge solid. Hit the thumbs up. The cool stuff. Make sure you're following, and we're gonna jump into it. As far as the dollar goes, I do want that to break. I need this to absolutely break. We were, I think, 3 or 4 pips away from my stop on the U.S. dollar short. Right, I mean, my stop is right above this wick. I thought it was happening. We broke down. I'm waiting for it to break, and I'm probably going to add on, but I need it to actually not be putting in a higher low to just go short on. Okay. Bitcoin. Here it comes. Now, I don't know how, if you're new here, you probably didn't hear this call out, but I like to talk about things before they happen. And so you can go back to Monday the 14th, maybe Friday the 11th, somewhere around here. Go back to Sunday stream around there, because I even said if MicroStrategy pulls back to this zone, I'm going to buy it. And I still might do a standout video. So if you guys just see a MicroStrategy thumbnail, just know this is what I'm talking about. So we got down to this zone, And I ended up buying some 200 strike calls. And everything about this was because of Bitcoin. I just wanted a little bit of leverage on it. I have enough Bitcoin. Bitcoin's not something I trade. There's a lot of slippage, fees, a lot of that stuff just didn't make sense. So if you're following me and you followed like my plays last week, then I bought more Beto, which is a Bitcoin futures ETF. It'll be cool. I'll keep that for the dividend. But I thought last week was a good time to add on, even though I wanted a pullback. But then I also bought MicroStrategies. And I specifically said if it hits that zone and Bitcoin looks like it's getting ready to roll, we're going in. This was one of them. Good news is, I don't know if he's here. I made it in somebody else's will. And his exact words were, the wife is out, Don is in. Because I said, tell me more about this will that I'm in. He says, the wife costs money, Don makes money. Because I ended up buying it actually popped out of this zone. I bought the 200 strike calls for next week. At the end of the day, they were actually down a little bit. And then the next day, they're up a little bit over 110%. Each contract was around $900, somewhere around there. Anyway, they're more than that now, more than double. And somebody asked me, what if it's like last week where it gaps up on Monday and then sells off? I think Bitcoin we're getting above this. There could be a pretty decent move coming. So tomorrow morning, I am going to sell some of those calls, and I'm going to try my best to trail them. So what I don't want is to still be in MicroStrategy, and I'm going over this because it has everything to do with Bitcoin. Again, I don't want this happening where I'm up 150%, and then it sells back off. Can you imagine how embarrassing that would be? Just watching a green trade go red. Anyway, not doing that. I'm gonna try my best to trail that. Maybe it just gaps and goes. Picture perfect. It's very hard to put a stop market order on an options contract and not tag out just in the fluctuations, especially in the first few minutes of the market. But anyway, that is my MicroStrategy play, and I told you guys back here exactly what I was going to do, and then it did it. So I did it, and then so far that's how it's playing out. But Bitcoin, we kind of had this lower high and this bright yellow zone. I made it bright yellow for a reason because I thought that'd be a very tough range to break. Also, we broke, if you have that trend line drawn, which I think everybody does, breaking that. I do think this might be tied to Trump. Obviously, the markets are going to favor one over the other as far as the election goes. And to be honest, you can cut the Facebook stuff out right now, guys. It actually doesn't matter. Historically, both sides have had good and bad stock markets. So you can't really say, hey, if it's red, stock market's going to be good. If it's blue, stock market's going to be bad, or vice versa. It just doesn't work that way. But for now, Trump is a pretty big fan, or at least he's making it sound like it, of Bitcoin. So maybe we're starting to price some of that in. But getting it above that zone, I thought there'd be a bunch of sellers and a lower high. We kick it to this zone. We might just pull back here, and I would buy this dip. If we would actually break above, pull back, I would buy that dip again. If we get above that 74, everyone's talking about it on Facebook. That's when Bitcoin hype is really going to come in. So MicroStrategies, Riot, Mara, Beto, those are going to be some that probably really perform very well. So careful on the momentum side with that. But that's everything that's on my radar right now, just for that. All right, jumping into the S&P. I think we continue the grind up. I told you guys to remember what it was like watching Tesla run up into the Robotaxi event, which is everything that the S&P looks like right now. The S&P looks like it is just marching up to the election event. And it looks like a buy the rumor, sell the news event. I do think the market's overbought. And I've been telling you guys this the past few streams. I don't want to sound bearish. In fact, every time I've talked about a crash, it's happened. And I've talked about it well in advance. So, and for those of you guys that are new, I don't just say it and I talk about a crash and eventually I'm right. I'm 3 for 3. Was the last one? It was a correction. Anyway, called it out, then it happened. And I'm starting to have that the same conversations I'm having now are the same conversations I had in 2019, saying, hey, there's going to be a reset switch. Who knows what the excuse is going to be, but the market's going to pull back. They're going to run away with some news. We're going to get a quick little reset. I think everything's up there, and I think it's very hard to really buy anything. There's a lot of bullish stocks, uh, that just have not had a real pullback that you can really lean into. And I was going to make a separate video because I saw Tom Lee come out, and even he said he underestimated this, and he thinks there's $6 trillion on the side, and he thinks it's all coming in the market, and the market's just going to continue to rally uh, forever and ever. Whatever he said on that one, a lot of money on the sides, and now everyone has to buy in. And I don't know if he just has his place to get everybody excited and bring that new money in. No one has to buy. Imagine if you had $6 trillion on the side. You could market buy it. But I promise you, if you guys have any real money, you're waiting for the red candles to buy anyway. They're not led by emotion. Retail traders, maybe some small institutions, they are led by FOMO. Anybody that has to answer to somebody, there's a lot of times that they call it window dressing at the end. Like you don't want to call up your firm or have to make a call to a client and say, no, we're not in NVIDIA. And yet all they're hearing about is this meteoric rise NVIDIA has had over the years. So they've never really exited those positions, and they don't really need to just load up more at all-time highs either. You're going to look silly. Um, so I don't know if I'm really on board that as far as what Tom Lee says. Sure, I'm sure there is money on the side, but everything about this market right now looks like it's just up, and the excuse is right around the corner. So I would continue to trade this. I think you're on borrowed time, walking on eggshells, or you're playing a game of hot potato, and it is a nice shade of red. Which how much do you want in your hands when that thing blows up? Is kind of what I'm thinking. This is where I think a lot of the conversations bleed together. Are you an investor or a trader? Because right now, as an investor, you're probably still buying, but it's a lot less. You really want to go heavy when things pull back. As a trader, you can trade this trend, and it's probably better to just wait for the red candle. And I say this a lot: wait till the red candle is followed by another red candle, at least, because so far everything has just been bought up, and this market has embarrassed a lot of the bears. And not that there's perma bears out there, but there's people that are kind of rightfully so, like, hey, we're a little bit up there. Maybe I'm going to go short this, and they just shrugged that off and laughed. So for now, as we do these streams and I talk about being bearish, just know that I have to continue to play this trend, but that is on my mind, front and center. One, do we make it to the elections? I think so. I don't think they're going to just unravel the markets right before elections. No one's going out to vote then. Is it the day after? Probably not. So we'll kind of see. I don't want to sound bearish. I don't want to talk bearish, and then I tell you guys how much I made on my SPY calls. Because if we get the tiny red candles, you have to buy the dip for now. I'd rather take a small L going long SPY when it really does turn than just be short getting chopped up the whole way up. And right now, that's what an ascending triangle looks like. It's not really ascending wedge. Man, this is what I think a lot of people were talking about on Tesla. So just to make this simple for like the newbies, I just call this hammer on glass. This is your hammer. This horizontal plane is the pane of glass. Now you're going to get to this point, and you're going to find out right here what that hammer's made out of. Is that bulletproof glass? Is the glass made, or is the hammer just made out of graphite? More often than not, it is the horizontal line that breaks. So this would break to the upside. Just something to keep an eye on. So everything about the S&P looks like it's just going to rock and roll. As far as the open goes, we actually had a gap up. No, not on the SPY, on the futures. A little bit of a gap up and kind of push. Everything about this just looks like we'll be at all-time highs tomorrow. As far as the NASDAQ goes, a little bit of a gap up there. Just struggling to get above this zone. I bet earnings will lead it in there. I will say, as earnings start to report, outside of everything I just said about Tesla, I think earnings for now, bullish. You guys know I was bullish. Let's take a break real quick from the futures. Go to Netflix. So I bought Netflix. Told you guys this. And instead of it just being an earnings gamble with calls, I bought shares. My stop is right below this at 752.45, and I'm just going to continue to trail it. There is someone in the comments that said Netflix is going to dump today. Hopefully it does if you're short this thing, because my stop's in the green. So we can both make money. I don't know why you would think Netflix was going to dump, but I didn't really have a bearish case. But I kind of expect a few more earnings to look the same way. In fact, if we sell off into earnings as far as Meta goes, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, if they sell off into earnings, I'm going to probably buy every one of those and go long. At the same time, I expect the Magnificent Seven, the tech stocks, to kind of do this, and that's going to put the market just that much further. And if they all just kind of agree, in reality, we'll probably have Microsoft up, Google down. We'll have a mix, and the market will just kind of chop around. If for some reason they were all to just agree and they're all green, at that point, I would front run the risk and I would buy puts on the market. But right now, that's what it would take for me to short the Nasdaq just outright, and I would probably buy some March puts on QQQ. If I didn't do that, I'd probably want to grab a little bit of SQQQ, knowing I'm going to add on later. But I think we're probably getting ahead of ourselves with that one. As far as the Russell goes, probably wouldn't worry about shorting it until it got to that bright yellow zone. Looking at the financials, which will lead that. We're up there. Yeah, there's probably nothing to really zone out. So we gapped up, found some sellers right here. So for now, we have one candle worth of price action. I'm going to keep my eye. I'm going to make that blue because it's not really a full-blown zone. We'll keep that there for now. So if it were to pull back, hang out, kind of make this, someone's going to call it a golf club. Let's say the financials did this. Bear flag or reversal. They look the same, just depending on the camp and the echo chamber you sit in. We'll see. But if it does that, I would buy the dip. I think that would end up being your reversal and be your higher low for now. Rather than constantly interrupting you, is this a mixture of technical analysis and fundamental analysis? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe a little bit of both. Probably a little bit more psychology. If anything, it's more psychology and kind of how the markets work in general. Technical analysis is just drawing a bunch of lines on the charts. You'll be coincidentally right more often than not, but if you really want to dial it in, you need to know why the markets move the way they move. Don't just draw a support line and call it a support. Why is it going to bounce? Because it's a support. Did there before? You might be all right, but you're probably not going to do that well. You still need to know this. The story's good to know, I guess, because it can kind of tell you where the excuses are coming from. But let's take a look at Tesla. Look at all this price action with Tesla. A lot of up, a lot of down. What fundamentally changed in Tesla? What fundamentally changed from day to day that made it do this? I had streams talking about it plenty of times. Played a lot of these zones. Nothing fundamentally changed. So a little bit of everything. Don puts the fun in fundamental. This is Don's analysis. You're welcome. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I would 100% call this technical analysis. Smooth jazz. Another bank failure Friday didn't make the news. Interesting. All right. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. NVIDIA, I do have some sold calls on this, and I'm so torn on letting some of the shares go. I just don't think I can for now. I'm going to just keep rolling. Let me see if there's anything else. Beto. This is the other Bitcoin one that I got. We had bought some. I forget where we bought, and then I bought it again at 19, right at 19. What do you know about that? The low of the day was like 1896. Almost grabbed it at the bottom of that. Anyway, that's up. More of a Bitcoin run. I think right now the two I'm going to have my eye on this week are Bitcoin, and that will for me correlate to MicroStrategies and Beto, and Tesla. I don't know how I'm going to play Tesla. I have a lot of Tesla shares. I do have sold calls on Tesla. I have some 220 sold puts. In fact, I dodged it. One more thing, I dodged getting assigned for the last Friday. The Friday before, I did get assigned because we were down here. I got 100 shares here. I dodged getting assigned another 100 shares by 16 cents. I guess it's a little bit up, 60 cents. What was Friday's close? 70 cents. And then I have one more expiring this Friday. So if Tesla's below there, I told you guys, and I have had those puts sold for months now, and it has just dodged everything. So and it was just one contract every Friday for the next 3 Fridays. This one I did let go because I'm gonna sell it over here. I'm only gonna add on 300 shares. So if I get assigned this week, I got an extra 100 shares I'm gonna jack around with. But that's kind of where I'm at on that one. But those are gonna be the top two, I think. MicroStrategies and Tesla. Beto, I'm not gonna do anything with. Hopefully, it just blows up. If it really shoots up, I may sell a call against it. But I'll just enjoy the dividend on that one for now. That is a monthly payer. For anybody that doesn't know, be careful with the high flyers like this. I think this one's in a unique position because if Bitcoin goes up, you're gonna get the appreciation on the shares. Let's see. Last month it was $1.09 per share. Month for that, $1.20. Month for that, $1.44, $1.50, $1.76. So it just keeps going down as it should with the price. $1.68. So that's per share, and it's been a monthly payer. So I think that one's in a unique position to really pay out well on both sides. Um, Someone asked what they should invest in. I would say some time in watching what I do. Uh, I'm really big into AI stuff, and the reason why I struggle when everyone says, "Hey, what should I invest in?" One, I don't. What if I am wrong one day? And then the last 2 years, so I post my plays. I have an account. I post every play in and out. Last 2 years, I've been wrong 4 times. What if that one time I answer somebody and then I'm wrong? Oh, it's the exact opposite. Okay, that would suck. Two, if you don't understand what you're getting into, then everything's my fault. And right now, I have a lot of tech stuff. If the Qs are red that day, just know that my money probably went down, unless I was just short. My investment account definitely was down because that's just long. But I don't know. You gotta I hate saying do your due diligence, but do something. Even if you want to watch my videos and just figure it out. I have 2 YouTube channels, Don Fron Show and Don Fron Trading. Don Fron Show was the main one, but I converted it all to AI. I sold my dividend stocks. I'm all in this AI stuff. So you can go in there and find everything I have in my investment account. I talk about just casting an AI net, not a single bone in my body, not any fiber of my being do I think small cap's going to be anything. I think we are in a tech world, and tech's probably about to really boom. We're about to go from the steam engine to something ridiculous. I was going to say, like, it's not even from dial up to high speed. It's from smoke signals to high speed. That's the jump I think we're about to take, which is why I want to have all my money in tech stuff. But I cannot tell anybody else to do that because not a lot of diversity there. And you know what they say? Just buy everything, right? All right. Time is funny, but very true. Time is funny. Tay, I appreciate that. Am I missing context of that? I want to show some love to everybody in the comments. TikTok keeps it rolling. 4,000 likes on TikTok. Where are we at on YouTube? I crack up when people ask Don what do you trade? Glad to see new people still coming in through. I trade the same stuff over and over again. I have TSM sold puts at 195. I kind of think 195. I don't know. That's going to be a close one. If we're going to fill the gap or anything like that, we're coming down here. Maybe we do that and bounce. Right at that 194-ish area is going to be a tough level. Vespa says spy. If you guys on TikTok, if you ever join in on Sunday, I go over the dollar, Bitcoin, SPY, QQQ, IWM, and I do it in that order. So if you guys ever miss it, just go to YouTube and just watch that video from the beginning if you want. I think SPY is going to continue to grind up, but I do actually want you to go watch the beginning of the video because I talk about it a lot. This particular one time I went over Tesla first, and then the S&P, and those actually, well, the end of Tesla and then the S&P will correlate. I say that because you really can't just ask me, "Hey, what do you think about SPY?" I mean, what are you on, the 30-second time frame? The hourly, the 4-hour, the daily, the weekly? Are you kinda dollar cost averaging into it? That's so broad, and it's hard to just give those answers. But I did kinda cover what I think is gonna happen over the next few months at the beginning of this video. What is my target on Tesla? I'm all in. Whew. All in. What's your time frame, Brian? I'll answer this. Will NASDAQ hit 2,500? 20,500 probably. Um, for the week, right now I'm watching this range on Tesla right here. I bet if that does break, yeah, we're at the $200 mark. I will say this. I would be a very strong buyer at 180 on Tesla. And it really bugs me when all the YouTubers and everyone's like, "Oh, I hope it goes there." Like, nah, who really hopes their money goes down? I think that sounds stupid when people say that. I would be a buyer there, but I hope it just goes to 1,000,000 right now. Let's just gap and go and never look back. But I would have a hard time ignoring that right there. If it dropped to 180, I would probably sell some 190 puts. I mean, I'd be $10 in the money. TLT, I am bullish on. I want to get in on Tesla under 200. Okay. Let me ask you this. If it drops to 203 and then just turns and runs, how mad would you be that you missed the trade? A $200 product and you just want it under $200. And we're at 220 right now. I asked that because I've missed a lot of trades being super picky before. And then in the grand scheme of things, it's like Bitcoin. Should I buy it now at 70,000 or should I wait for 50? You know, well, where do you think it's going to go? 500,000 or like Kathy says to 1,000,000. Do you really want to miss the trade over $20,000? You're talking about $1,000,000 target and you want to miss the trade over a couple $1,000 bucks. So always ask yourself, where do you think it's going to go? How much meat is on the bones? And is that a little bit of a scrap actually worth it? And it is. I mean, that's still $20 a share before you even want to get in. So you have your rules, you have your targets. But is there a scenario where you can buy a little bit now, scratch that itch? And I'm not trying to get you to FOMO into anything, but just reading that comment just kind of made me think like, oh crap, I've missed so many trades thinking that. If you're going to buy 10 shares, I like this example I give for dividends. Usually if someone says, "Hey, dividends, how would I get in now?" And I usually break it down like 2 here, 3 here, 5 here. There's your 10. I would consider something like that on Tesla. If I want it under $200 and I'm going to buy 10 shares, I'm probably grabbing 2. Hopefully this week's red. 2 now, and then I'll wait to really throw the other 8 in there. But in case it just turns on a dime and sends it, and Tesla has that cult following and has done before, and don't get me wrong, I don't think it's now. But that's what I would have in there. Kathy is bullish Bitcoin. Colton, where have you been? She's literally always been. I don't know if she's ever not been bullish Tesla. Tesla new all-time highs early 2025. Alec, I like your optimism. So Tesla's my number 2 position. I'm not even being sarcastic. I would be thrilled if that happened. But I don't know. What do I think on SPY? Guys, I'm about to end it, but I do, and I don't need to drag you guys off platform on the TikTok side. Go to Don Fron Show or Don Fron Trading. I did this live on both of those, and watch that. I go over Tesla, the dollar, and then the S&P, and I do that every Sunday. Not typically with Tesla up front, but watch that because there's a few points on there. So I can just get you to do that. It's not for views. You don't have to subscribe. But I got to hop off it, and I don't want to give you a good answer. Mentorship group, don't go anywhere. We're jumping on Zoom right now. Everyone else, you will see me on Wednesday. 5.2 thousand likes on TikTok. YouTube, step your game up. TikTok, is there 10 of you guys that can follow me? Can we get to I just need 10 more followers. Ross says YouTube. Yeah, I'm actually I'm live on YouTube and TikTok right now. Terry, it's good to see you. Inverse Kathy. I've heard Inverse Kramer. I haven't heard Inverse Kathy before. Please just in. Well, I'm at 3,390. It'd be cool to get to 3,400. All right. Since one person followed me, I'm going to break down Hood, but then I really got to get going. Hood, I forgot what this vertical line is for. Anytime I draw a vertical line on my charts, by the way, guys, it's because somebody probably asked me about an option and it expires that day. So I try to visualize, hey, there's your, that's the wall, right? So if you have my charts, don't worry about the vertical lines. If you don't have an options expiring that day, I would expect some sellers right here. Man, if it gets above $28, let's go. I actually really like Hood. Hood's bringing in futures. Man, you guys trading SPY have no idea what you're doing. No idea what you're in for. Sorry. There's SPY options, but there's tax advantages. There's a lot of liquidity reasons. If you're under PDT, there's a lot of reasons to trade the SPY futures. And you're about to have that on Robinhood. Robinhood's going to be the big man on campus. Anyway, we'll probably have another future video coming out on that. Don't jump into an asset class you know nothing about. Because I promise you this, you will get absolutely obliterated. 100%. You can blow your account anytime. Let's do the education first. 2 of them. I need 8 more followers. All right, guys. I do have to wrap it up here. It was fun talking. I will see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.